The message arrived on a Tuesday. General Marcus Reynolds stood before the United Earth Council, his weather-worn face illuminated by the holographic display that dominated the chamber center. The assembled leaders sat in stunned silence as the translation matrix completed its work, converting the alien transmission into 27 Earth languages simultaneously. To the developing species of Sol 3, the message began, its formal tone barely masking the condescension beneath. The Galactic Council regrets to inform you that your system has been targeted by the Void Collective's Harvester fleet. As per Protocol 7249B, we are offering evacuation assistance for up to 0.01% of your population, selected based on genetic diversity and technical expertise. Reynolds watched the faces around him. Chancellor Zhang's knuckles whitened against her armrest. Representative Thompson from the North American Alliance had gone pale. Only Director Patel from the Indian subcontinent maintained his composure, though his eyes betrayed the same fear that gripped them all. The Council has evaluated Earth's current technological level. The message continued. Your species has achieved rudimentary space travel and basic quantum computing. However, you have not yet developed gravity manipulation, dark matter harnessing, or consciousness transfer. Therefore, you are classified as a Level 2 civilization, unsuitable for full military support against a Level 5 threat. The chamber erupted in protests. Reynolds raised his hand, silencing them as the message played on. The Harvester fleet will reach your system in approximately 30 days. The evacuation ships will arrive in 7 days. Selected individuals will be integrated into various advanced civilizations as refugee citizens. We recommend immediate preparation for population triage. The hologram flickered out, leaving the chamber in suffocating darkness before the regular lights resumed their gentle glow. They're writing us off, Thompson said, breaking the silence. 0.01%. That's less than 1 million people. They're not just writing us off, Reynolds responded, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. They're telling us to lie down and die. Deep below the council chamber, in the Mariana Trench Research Station, the first anomaly appeared. The quantum sensors designed to monitor deep-sea thermal vents began recording impossible data. Dr. Amanda Harper stared at her screens, rechecking the calibration for the third time. The readings showed quantum fluctuations that shouldn't exist in nature, let alone 5 miles under the ocean's surface. Back in the chamber, Director Patel finally spoke. What do we know about this Void Collective? Reynolds activated a secondary display, showing the limited data included in the transmission. They're a machine-organic hybrid species. They travel in ships the size of small moons, stripping planets of resources and adding the processed materials to their fleet. No known Level 2 or Level 3 civilization has ever successfully resisted them. And we're supposed to just accept their assessment, Chancellor Zhang demanded, rising from her seat. Humanity didn't survive ice ages, plagues, and our own self-destructive tendencies just to be cataloged and discarded by some interstellar bureaucracy. The general's response was cut short by an urgent message on his neural link. His eyes widened slightly, the only indication of his surprise. We're getting reports of unusual energy signatures from multiple ocean monitoring stations. The patterns are unlike anything we've seen before. In the Mariana Trench, Dr. Harper watched as the quantum fluctuations formed patterns that defied random chance. They pulsed with a rhythm that seemed almost deliberate, like a signal trying to break through static. Her hand trembled as she initiated the deep scan protocol. There's something down there, she whispered to her empty lab. Something that's been waiting for this moment. As the Council debated evacuation protocols and defense strategies, they remained unaware that Earth's true defense system was already stirring. In the darkest depths of the world's oceans, ancient machinery, disguised as simple microorganisms, began to wake from a sleep that had lasted millions of years. The warning had come not a moment too soon. Dr. Amanda Harper had always been called reckless by her peers. Now, standing in the pressurized observation chamber of the Mariana Research Station, she realized they might have been right. The quantum fluctuations had grown stronger over the past 12 hours, creating visible distortions in the water outside the reinforced windows. Neural recording active, she spoke into her lab system. The microorganisms are exhibiting synchronized behavior, unlike anything previously documented. They're not just moving through quantum states, they're creating them. The tiny creatures swirled in complex patterns, leaving trails of bent light in their wake. Her quantum sensors were registering activity that should have required a particle accelerator, the size of a city, yet these microscopic entities were doing it effortlessly. Her neural link chimed with an urgent message from Dr. Marcus Webb at the Challenger Deep facility. "Harper, tell me you are seeing this too. The rock samples we collected last month, they're responding to the quantum activity." She switched her display to the incoming feed from Challenger Deep. The ancient rock formations, estimated to be millions of years old, were emanating the same energy signatures as the microorganisms. "It's not just a coincidence," she breathed. "The patterns match exactly." Above the station, the Pacific Ocean roiled with unusual activity. Surface ships reported instrument malfunctions, and marine life was behaving erratically, with entire pods of whales gathering above the trenches. Her lab assistant, James Chen, burst into the chamber, his usually calm demeanor shattered. "Dr. Harper, we're getting reports from every major ocean research station. The same quantum signatures are appearing in the Atlantic Ridge, the Tonga Trench, even the Arctic seabed." Amanda's mind raced through the implications. "These organisms aren't random evolution," she said, more to herself than to James. "They're too perfect, too coordinated. This is engineered technology, but on a scale we've never imagined." Her theory was interrupted by a priority alert from the Defense Network. The first scout ships of the Harvester fleet had been detected passing Jupiter's orbit. Their arrival had triggered an immediate intensification of the ocean activity. "James, get me a direct line to General Reynolds," she ordered, her eyes fixed on the swirling patterns outside. "And start compiling all the data we've collected on these energy signatures. Focus on the correlation between the scout ship's approach and the increase in quantum activity." The communication link opened, revealing Reynolds' stern face. "Dr. Harper, please tell me you have something that will make my day better." "General, what I'm about to tell you will sound impossible," she started, then paused as new data flooded her screens. The microorganisms were now forming complex geometric structures, creating what looked like three-dimensional circuit patterns in the water. These life forms aren't natural. They're components of something bigger, a network that spans Earth's entire ocean system. And it's waking up in response to the Harvester fleet. Reynolds' expression remained stoic, but his eyes betrayed his interest. "You're saying there's some kind of defense system hidden in our oceans?" "Not just hidden," Amanda corrected, watching as the patterns grew more complex. "I think it was planted here, maybe millions of years ago, waiting for the right moment. The quantum fields these organisms generate, they're similar to the technology the Galactic Council described, but they're operating on principles we don't even have words for yet." A sudden surge of energy caused the station's lights to flicker. Through the window, the microorganisms had begun to pulse with an inner light, their movements now forming what looked like letters in an unknown script. "General," Amanda said, her voice barely above a whisper, "I think they're trying to communicate with us. And whatever they have to say, I have a feeling it's going to change everything we think we know about our planet's history." The ancient guardians had begun their message, and Earth's future hung on humanity's ability to understand it in time. The holographic symbols danced through the command center like luminescent rain. Dr. Amanda Harper watched as the supercomputers struggled to process the flood of data streaming from the ocean depths. 3 days had passed since the first communication attempt, and the ancient network was growing more active by the hour. These aren't just random patterns, she explained to the assembled military and scientific leaders. The microorganisms are forming what we believe to be the most powerful quantum computer ever discovered. Each cluster acts like a node in the network, and they're all connected through quantum entanglement. General Reynolds leaned forward, his expression grim. And you're certain they're trying to interface with our systems? Before Amanda could answer, the room's lights flickered. The holographic display shuddered, then reorganized itself into a 3-dimensional map of Earth's oceans. Points of light marked the major trenches and rifts, connected by lines of energy that pulsed like living arteries. They're not trying anymore, Amanda said softly. They've succeeded. The map zoomed in on the Mariana Trench, revealing a complex structure hidden within the ocean floor. It looked like a massive circuit board made of living matter, its components formed by billions of the mysterious microorganisms working in perfect synchronization. Dr. James Chen, who had been analyzing the latest data, stepped forward. We've carbon dated some of the dormant organisms found in the rock samples. They're over 65 million years old. A murmur ran through the room. The time of the Great Extinction, someone whispered. Exactly, Amanda confirmed. Whatever civilization created this network, they were here when the dinosaurs vanished. And I don't think that's a coincidence. The display shifted again, showing a simulation of what the network might have looked like when fully active. The energy lines connected every major body of water on Earth, creating a planetary web of quantum fields. Each attempt to study these organisms has triggered new responses, Amanda continued. Yesterday, a research team in the Pacific experienced 3 days in what was only 20 minutes for the rest of us. Another team near the Atlantic Ridge reported objects passing through solid matter, as if it wasn't there. General Reynolds' neural link chimed with an update. The Harvester scout ships have passed Mars orbit. We have less than 5 days until the main fleet arrives. Amanda nodded, then gestured to a new series of calculations floating in the air. The network is showing us how to wake it up, but there's a problem. The quantum fields it generates don't just bend space-time. They shatter our understanding of physics. We're talking about technology that could either save Earth or tear it apart. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The holographic display suddenly pulsed with new information, symbols flowing like water through the air. Amanda's eyes widened as she read the translation. They're showing us something new, she said, her voice tight with excitement and fear. The network wasn't just built for defense. It's a test. A test of what? Reynolds asked. Of worthiness. Amanda manipulated the display, expanding a new set of images. These organisms don't just generate quantum fields. They respond to consciousness. The ancient builders left this system here, knowing that only a species with the right combination of intelligence, innovation, and perhaps something else could activate it successfully. Outside the command center's windows, the ocean had begun to glow with a soft, pulsing light. The network was growing stronger, but time was running out. In orbit, the early warning systems tracked the approaching scout ships, their massive forms casting long shadows across the face of Mars. We need to make a decision, Amanda said, looking around the room. The network is ready to fully activate, but once we start the process, there's no going back. We'll either prove ourselves worthy of this legacy, or... She didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone in the room knew the stakes. Humanity's future would be decided not by the advanced civilizations that had dismissed them, but by their ability to master a power that had lain dormant since before their species existed. The clock was ticking, and the ancient guardians were waiting for humanity's answer. General Reynolds stood in the secure underground chamber, Surrounded by holograms of beings the Galactic Council had also deemed primitive. The air hummed with the energy of multiple translation fields as 5 different species communicated across light years. The Council called us simple crystal shapers. The Volix representatives' form shimmered, their crystalline body refracting light in impossible patterns. They never understood that we don't just shape crystals. We commune with the fundamental structure of matter itself. Amanda Harper watched in fascination as the Volix demonstrated, their body momentarily phasing through the holographic projector without disrupting the signal. Next to them, the serpentine form of a Meridian Elder coiled in their gravity chair, bioluminescent patterns rippling along their scales. Our ships navigate the space between spaces, the Meridian's thoughts translated directly into understanding. We see the quantum paths that their machines cannot detect. But alone, we are too few to challenge the harvesters. The third representative, Avzor colony mind, manifested as a swirling cloud of bioluminescent particles. Our living ships adapt and evolve during battle, but the Void Collective's numbers overwhelm us. Yet together, with your ancient defense network. Reynolds nodded, understanding where this was going. Together, we might stand a chance. But why risk your people to help us? The chamber's atmosphere shifted as a fourth figure materialized. A towering being of pure energy contained within a sophisticated environmental suit. The quantum fields from the ocean network pulsed in response to their presence. Because we remember, the energy being's thoughts resonated through the chamber. We are the Nexus, the last survivors of those you call the ancient builders. We have watched and waited, seeking those who could inherit our legacy. Amanda stepped forward, her mind racing. You created the network, but why leave it dormant for so long? The Nexus being's form flickered with complex patterns. The network is more than a weapon. It is a key to understanding the quantum nature of consciousness itself. We seeded similar systems on many worlds, waiting for species that could evolve beyond simple technological advancement. The Volix crystal form chimed in agreement. We each discovered different aspects of the same truth. The Council measures progress by machines and energy manipulation. They forgot that true evolution takes many forms. Reynolds' neural link pulsed with an alert. The Harvester fleet had accelerated. They now had less than 3 days. We don't have time for philosophy, he said, his voice firm. What's your proposal? The Meridian Elder uncoiled, their biolights forming complex mathematical equations in the air. We have already positioned our forces near your solar system. The Volix crystal ships can phase through the Harvester's shields. Our Meridian vessels can navigate the quantum distortions your network creates. The Zura living ships can adapt to whatever countermeasures the enemy deploys. Amanda's screens filled with new data as the Nexus being shared critical information about the network. This is incredible, she breathed. The microorganisms aren't just generating quantum fields. They're creating a bridge between consciousness and quantum reality. Each species here can interface with the network in a different way, which is exactly why the Council fears us. The Zor colony mind pulsed. Together, we represent an evolution they cannot control or predict. Reynolds studied the battle projections forming in the center of the chamber. The combined fleet of primitive species was unlike anything in human military history. Crystal ships that could phase through matter, living vessels that evolved mid-battle, and ships that navigated by reading the quantum structure of space itself. If we're going to do this, he said, we need to start now. Dr. Harper, how soon can we begin full network activation? Amanda looked at the Nexus being, who nodded in approval. With their guidance and the combined knowledge of our new allies, we can begin the awakening process within 24 hours. But once we start, everything changes. The Nexus being finished. One way or another, the galaxy will never be the same. Outside the chamber, The oceans of Earth pulsed with growing power, as if they too were ready for the coming storm. Red warning lights bathed the Mariana Control Center in a crimson glow as Dr. Amanda Harper initiated the network activation sequence. Around her, teams of human scientists worked alongside their alien allies, each species contributing their unique understanding to the ancient system's awakening. "Quantum field generators at 40% capacity," James called out, his hands dancing over the holographic controls. The microorganisms are responding to the resonance pattern. Through the reinforced windows, the ocean had become a living light show. Billions of the ancient guardian organisms pulsed in synchronized waves, their quantum signatures growing stronger with each passing moment. The Volix Crystal Master floated near Amanda, their crystalline form reflecting the shifting patterns. The network recognizes the combined consciousness signatures. It's accepting the activation keys from all species simultaneously. Suddenly, the entire station shuddered. Time seemed to stretch like taffy, with some screens showing events seconds before they happened, while others lagged minutes behind. The Meridian Elders' biolights flared in response. The quantum fields are creating temporal distortion zones. They transmitted, just as they did in our home system's tests. Your planet's consciousness is awakening. Amanda's neural link erupted with emergency signals from coastal monitoring stations worldwide. We're getting reports of time dilation effects along every major coastline. Sydney is experiencing tomorrow, while Tokyo is seeing yesterday. General Reynolds' voice cut through the chaos via emergency channel. "Dr. Harper, the Harvester scout ships have begun emergency deceleration. Whatever you're doing down there, it's got their attention." The Nexus being's energy form pulsed with approval. The network doesn't just defend. It rewrites the local laws of physics. Watch. From the ocean floor, crystalline structures began to grow. But these weren't natural formations. They moved like living things, creating vast geometric patterns that seemed to exist in more dimensions than the human mind could process. "My God," Amanda whispered. "They're quantum processors. The entire ocean is becoming a living computer." The Zora colony mine's particles swirled in excitement. "The patterns match our ancient records. Your Earth was not chosen randomly. Its oceans are the perfect medium for this technology, and your species' neural structure is compatible with the control systems." Warning klaxons blared as new data flooded the screens. The network's activity had triggered unexpected reactions in Earth's magnetic field. Aurora-like phenomena appeared at the equator, while gravitational measurements fluctuated wildly. "We need to stabilize the field distribution," Amanda shouted over the alarms. "If the temporal distortions spread to the planet's core." Her words were cut short as reality itself seemed to hiccup. For a brief moment, everyone in the control center experienced multiple versions of the same second, each slightly different. Through the windows, the ocean appeared to flow both forward and backward simultaneously. The Nexus being moved to the center of the room, their energy form expanding. This is the critical moment. The network must synchronize with your planet's natural quantum state. Each species must contributing their consciousness pattern now. Amanda felt a strange sensation as the quantum fields brushed against her mind. Around her, human and alien consciousness merged with the ancient system. The crystalline structures in the ocean began to pulse in rhythm with their combined thoughts. "Integration at 80%, James reported, his voice strained. "The network it's learning, adapting. It's taking our combined knowledge, and..." The station shook again, but this time it felt different, more controlled. The temporal distortions began to stabilize, forming distinct patterns rather than chaos. The ocean's glow steadied into a deep, pulsing blue that seemed to hold infinite depth. "It's done," the Nexus being announced. "The network is awake, and it has already begun to evolve beyond its original design." Through her neural link, Amanda received a priority message from Orbital Command. The Harvester scout ships had broken formation, their advanced systems apparently unable to process the new reality around Earth. The real test was about to begin. The Harvester fleet emerged from hyperspace like a storm of metal and energy, their moon-sized command ships casting long shadows across Earth's orbital defense grid. But the space they entered was no longer the same they had charted. General Reynolds watched from the Lunar Command Center as reality itself bent around his planet. The ocean-based network had created a web of quantum anomalies that made normal space look like a funhouse mirror. Multiple Harvester ships reporting navigation failures, his strategic AI reported. Their targeting systems cannot maintain lock through the quantum distortions. Through the command center screens, he watched as the first wave of Volix crystal ships phased into view. They looked like shards of living diamond, each one shifting between solid and energy states as they approached the enemy fleet. The network is responding to the Harvester's presence. Dr. Amanda Harper's voice came through the neural link. She was still at the Mariana Control Center, coordinating with the ancient defense system. The quantum fields are adapting to their attack patterns before they even execute them. The first clash was unlike any battle in human history. Harvester weapons, designed to tear apart matter at the subatomic level, passed harmlessly through spaces that no longer existed when their beams arrived. The Volix ships phase-shifted through the enemy shields as if they weren't there, their crystalline weapons restructuring the very matter of the Harvester vessels. "Meridian Squadron, you are clear to engage," Reynolds commanded. The bioships of the Meridian fleet moved like living lightning, their neural pilots reading the quantum currents created by Earth's network. They flowed through gaps in reality that existed for nanoseconds, striking at the Harvester's weak points before they even formed. "Their AI systems are crashing," Amanda reported. "They can't process an environment where cause and effect don't follow linear paths." The massive Harvester command ships began to launch their drone swarms, millions of automated fighters designed to overwhelm any defense. But the Zur-living ships were ready. Their organic vessels split and evolved in real time, each adaptation perfectly countering the drone's attacks. From the ocean below, massive tentacles of pure quantum energy reached up through the atmosphere. The network had created weapons that existed in multiple states simultaneously, striking the enemy fleet from angles that shouldn't have been possible. "Warning," the strategic AI announced. "The Harvesters are attempting to deploy their reality anchors. They're trying to force normal space-time rules back into effect." Reynolds watched as enormous devices emerged from the Harvester ships, their energy signatures threatening to stabilize the quantum chaos that was Earth's best defense. But Amanda's voice held a note of triumph. "Let them try," she said. "The network isn't just bending reality. It's teaching us how to rewrite it. James, initiate Protocol Omega." The ocean's glow intensified until Earth looked like a blue star. The network had merged the consciousness of all allied species into its operations, creating a defense that evolved faster than the Harvesters could analyze. Each attack they launched was met by a counter that existed before they had even chosen their strategy. "Their command ships are falling back," Reynolds observed as the massive vessels began to retreat. "They've lost 30% of their fleet and haven't managed to land a single effective hit." The Harvester drones were being consumed by living crystal formations that grew from the quantum distortions. Meridian ships danced through their formation like needles through fabric, each pass unraveling their network communications. The Zur vessels had evolved into forms that made the most advanced Harvester technology look simple by comparison. "We're not just surviving," Amanda realized, her voice filled with wonder. "We're changing the rules of engagement itself. The network isn't a weapon, it's a tool for evolution. And together, we've evolved beyond their ability to comprehend, let alone combat." Above Earth, the battle continued to rage, but its outcome was already clear. The galaxy's most feared fleet was being undone, not by superior firepower, but by the combined innovation of species they had dismissed as primitive. The age of simple technological dominance was over. A new era of quantum evolution had begun. Dr. Amanda Harper's mind stretched across the quantum network like lightning through storm clouds. Around her in the Mariana Control Center, other human operators had entered similar states of expanded consciousness, their neural patterns merging with the ancient system in ways that even the Nexus being had never anticipated. Their consciousness integration is unlike anything we've seen. The Nexus being communicated to the assembled alien leaders. Humans don't just interface with the network, they transform it. Through the quantum link, Amanda could feel the truth of those words. While their allies each connected to the network in specialized ways, humans somehow did everything at once. They processed the Volix crystal patterns, sensed the meridian quantum paths, and understood the Zor's biological adaptations simultaneously. The final harvester wave is approaching. General Reynolds' voice cut through her expanded awareness. They've reconfigured their entire fleet based on what they learned from the first attack. Amanda watched through 1,000 quantum sensors as the enemy ships advanced. The harvesters had indeed evolved, their vessels now wrapped in fields that should have protected them from the previous tactics. But humanity had evolved faster. "We see it," she responded, her consciousness dancing through the network. "They think they've adapted to our quantum effects, but they're still thinking linearly. James, show them what we discovered." James Chen, his mind also merged with the network, initiated the new protocol they'd created. The ocean's defense grid didn't just bend reality. It now folded it like origami, creating geometric patterns that existed in dimensions the harvester's sensors couldn't even detect. "Impossible," the Volix crystal master chimed in wonder. "They're using our phase technology, but they've combined it with meridian quantum navigation and Zor adaptation principles." The harvester fleet found itself fighting an enemy that learned and evolved not over hours or minutes, but within microseconds. Human consciousness, connected through the network, processed combat data faster than their most advanced AI systems. "We're not just using the technology," Amanda realized as she directed another reality-warping attack. "We're teaching it. Every human connected to the network brings their own perspective, their own way of thinking about problems." Through the quantum link, she could feel her fellow operators each contributing something unique. A chess master's strategic planning, a dancer's understanding of movement, a child's unbound imagination. The network absorbed and implemented every mental model it encountered. The Nexus being's energy form pulsed with excitement. "Now you understand why Earth was chosen. Your species' neural plasticity, your ability to hold contradictory ideas, your talent for finding patterns in chaos. These were the traits we sought for eons." The battle above had become less of a combat action and more of a reality storm, with human operators conducting it like a symphony of quantum physics. The harvester ships found their advanced technology meaningless against an enemy that could literally change the laws of physics mid-battle. "They're not just losing," Reynolds observed from his command post. "They can't even comprehend how they're losing." Amanda directed another wave of quantum manipulation, using the crystal formations as both weapons and computer nodes. The network had become an extension of human consciousness, and human consciousness had become a key to understanding the universe itself. "The Void Collective's primary command ship is attempting emergency teleportation," the strategic AI reported. "Let them go," Amanda said, her voice carrying the weight of multiple dimensions. "They need to report to the Council what they've witnessed here." As the remaining harvester ships fled through their fracturing reality corridors, the truth became clear. The ancient builders hadn't left their technology on Earth as a simple defense system. They had left it as a test, a key, and an invitation. Humanity had proved themselves not just worthy of the technology, but capable of taking it in directions its creators had never imagined. The network wasn't just a weapon or a computer. It was a bridge to the next stage of universal evolution. And humans, with their unique ability to adapt, imagine, and transform, would lead the way. 1 month after the Battle of Earth, the Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the combined delegation of primitive species took the floor. Dr. Amanda Harper stood alongside General Reynolds, their forms shimmering slightly as the quantum fields from Earth's network rippled through spacetime. The council members, representing the most technologically advanced civilizations in known space, shifted uncomfortably as reality itself seemed to bend around the Earth delegation. The Volix Crystal Master, Meridian Elder, and Zur Colony Mind stood with them, their presence a testament to the new alliance that had shattered the old order. "You were wrong about us," Amanda began, her voice carrying the harmonic resonance of someone connected to the network. "Wrong about all of us. You measured progress by a single scale, seeing only one path to advancement. But the universe is not so simple." The head counselor, a being of pure energy, much like the Nexus, leaned forward. "The Void Collective's defeat is unprecedented. Their entire fleet, undone by technologies we had dismissed as primitive." "Not just technologies," Reynolds added, his military bearing unchanged despite the quantum field surrounding him. "But by ways of thinking you had forgotten. The Volix don't just shape crystals, they understand the language of matter itself. The Meridians don't simply navigate space, they read the quantum stories written in the void." The chamber's holographic displays came to life, showing the Battle of Earth from multiple dimensional perspectives. The council members watched in stunned silence as their carefully ordered universe was turned inside out by forces they had never thought possible. And humans, the Nexus being emerged from the quantum field, their energy form pulsing with pride. They proved to be exactly what we had sought for millions of years, a species that could not just use our network, but transform it. They don't just think outside your box, they reimagine the very nature of boxes. The secondary council member, a biomechanical entity, raised an appendage. "But this power, these reality-altering capabilities, they cannot be left unchecked." Amanda smiled, and the quantum fields rippled with her amusement. "You still don't understand. We're not here to ask for permission or recognition. We're here to show you a new way forward." At her signal, the combined fleet in orbit around the council world activated their quantum networks. Reality shimmered as thousands of ships, crystal, biological, and human, demonstrated their synchronized power. "The ancient builders," Amanda continued, "left their legacy not to the most advanced species, but to those who could see beyond simple advancement. They understood that true evolution comes from diversity, from the combination of different perspectives and approaches." The Zur Colony Mind swirled in agreement. "Our living ships learn from crystal technology. The Volix phase shifting is enhanced by Meridian quantum navigation, and human consciousness binds it all together in ways none of us had imagined. We're establishing a new alliance," Reynolds declared, "one based not on technological levels or military power, but on the ability to contribute unique perspectives to our shared evolution." The head counselor was silent for a long moment, their energy form flickering with complex emotions. "And if we refuse to recognize this alliance?" The quantum fields pulsed, and for a brief moment, every being in the chamber experienced time from multiple perspectives simultaneously. It was a gentle reminder of the power now at the Alliance's command. "You don't have to join us," Amanda said softly, "but you can no longer dismiss us. The age of single-path progress is over. The future belongs to those who can embrace diversity in all its forms, technological, biological, and consciousness itself." As if to emphasize her point, the ocean network back on Earth sent a pulse that rippled through the galaxy, its message clear in any language. The universe was entering a new age, one where the lines between primitive and advanced, between technology and biology, between consciousness and reality, would never be the same. The day Earth proved everyone wrong became the day the galaxy learned a new truth. That true power lies not in the height of one's achievement, but in the breadth of one's understanding. And somewhere in the quantum fields that now connected the allied species, the ancient builders watched as their greatest hope for the universe finally became reality.